Hello, how are you today? I have mailed the link on my videos to people who contacted me to book tours, or those who have already enjoyed some tours already, and I received a lot of kind words of support and gratitude, and even some donations on my PayPal account. So I, in my turn, would like to say thank you so much for these words. They are so motivating and inspiring. And I continue my cycle of the mini video tours around St. Petersburg. So let's start today from Senate Square in this beautiful sunny day. Now, St. Petersburg is really famous for its wonderful, grandiose architectural ensembles, and we have already seen some of them. Vasilyevsky Island, which appearance was formed mostly according to the project of architect Tamada Tamon, and the Palace Square with its Winter Palace by Bartolomeo Rastrelli, and the Alexander's Column in the middle by the architect Auguste Montferrand, and the former building of General Staff of Russian Army by architect Karl Rastrelli. And we will meet these names, not the ones during our video tours and private actual tours around St. Petersburg, because these names are really famous and really known in St. Petersburg due to their architectural ensembles. As for example, here on the Senate Square, which got its name due to the former building of the Senate, the highest body, legislative and executive body of Russian Empire, which was located here. And this Senate building is connected with the next one by an arch. The next building was the building of Synod, the highest administrative body of Russian Orthodox Church during the Empire time. You can see the cross on top of that building. And taking notice of this arch, two buildings were designed due to the project of Carlo Rastrelli. You probably remember the arch of General Staff building, so it seems it was one of the most favorite architectural element of this architect. And today the building is occupied by the Constitutional Court of Russian Federation, and you can guess it due to the flag on top. This flag, three stripes, red, blue and white, was introduced by Peter I. During the Soviet time it was changed into the red banner with sickle and hammer, and after the USSR collapse it was again changed into the historical one. You already know the founder of St. Petersburg, Tsar Peter I, also known as Peter the Great, was the first Russian Tsar who was awarded the title of Emperor. Was a Tsar, innovator and reformer, and man who brought the state to leading positions in international relations. Not surprisingly, it was to him in 1782, by the order of Empress Catherine II, the first monument in the history of Russia was erected. Then it was known just as a monument, since there were no others. Bronze Horseman, it was nicknamed by Russian poet Alexander Pushkin in 1833, and since that time it preserved its name. So, Bronze Horseman, dedicated to Peter I. As you can see, the Tsar is depicted here riding a horse, and the horse is trampling a snake, and the pedestal is made in the form of wave crest. The snake symbolizes here the enemies defeated, and the form of the wave crest symbolizes the gained access to the Baltic Sea in the course of the Northern War. I have mentioned already this topic in my previous videos. It was made according to the design of famous French sculptor Etienne Falconet, and Peter I also here wearing a laurel wreath as a symbol of immortal glory. The installation of the monument was timed to coincide with the 100th anniversary of his accession to the throne, and on pedestal you can distinguish the inscription to Peter I from Catherine II. From the east, the square is limited to the Admiralty building, which we also saw from the side of the Palace Square. Let me remind you that was the site where the first Admiralty shipyard was built, where first large military and merchant ships were constructed at the very beginning of the city. This building is of the early 19th century. Now is the General Staff of Russian Navy. You can see the flag on top, which is the flag of Russian Navy. And on the north side of the square and the park, behind the Bronze Horseman, you can see the beautiful and majestic St. Isaac's Cathedral. The first church consecrated in honor of St. Isaac of Dalmatia was located here in the Admiralty and Admiralty shipyard, and was constructed in 1710. The choice of the saint was due to his feast day, which coincides with the birthday of Peter I on 30th of May. Over time, the small wooden church fell into disrepair, and a new stone one was built on the place where the Bronze Horseman now stands. But unfortunately, the project of the church was not drawn correctly, and the building started to collapse. So they demolished this church and built the third variant of St. Isaac's Cathedral on the site where the current stands. But that time already Emperor Alexander I was not really satisfied with an appearance of that cathedral, and ordered to rebuild the third church to make it larger, more beautifully decorated, and turned into the main cathedral of the empire. So this is the fourth variant of St. Isaac's Cathedral that we can see now. It was constructed due to the project of architect Auguste Montferrand, the same architect of Alexander's Column, and it was the main cathedral of empire, and even after the revolution till 1930s. After that, Soviet authorities turned it into the Museum of Atheism in the course of fight with the religiosity of the population, and to make science privilege over religion. Now St. Isaac's Cathedral also is mainly a museum, but already dedicated to the monumental art and the history of its construction and existence. St. Isaac's Cathedral, greatly known by its marvelous mosaics in the interior, and besides murals and paintings, as well as sculptures and decorative stones in its exterior. The dome of this cathedral is one of the largest in the world for that time, when it was built in 1858, and it was gilded at that year and never regilded again. So the gilding of this dome is already more than 150 years. Well, while the architecture and sculptures and cathedral is mostly popular among the tourists and guests of the city, the adjacent lawn really loved by the citizens of the city, just to relax and enjoy the beautiful weather in the city, with a wonderful view onto the St. Isaac's Cathedral and onto the opposite bank of the Neva River with its historical buildings and its beautiful embankments.